see lots of weeds all around the prop shaft, so get in there with a serrated knife and cut them free. First order of business. I always use a knife with a serrated edge on it, but obviously go and get the knife before you open up all that. And then a serrated edge will cut through most things, cloth, sometimes some small wire, fishing line, stuff like that, and all of the weeds are now gone. So there we go. Okay, much clearer. Lovely. Oh, it's heavy. Be careful when you're putting this in not to muck around too much with the seal. That spongy stuff around there is the seal. That will make sure that no water comes leaking into here when you're in drive. Oh, okay. That's not quite sitting right, but that will sit better once I get the locking mechanism in place. Should just sit in there without needing any of that. Should just slide in. It's not doing it. Ah, there we go. Good. For a minute I thought I had it the wrong way around. And then we have these two big screw threads that will screw down and hold that in place by applying pressure onto there. And you'll find that as you do one up, the other one will become loose. Good. That's nice and secure now. And as you can see, that's now applying pressure. The screw is applying pressure along there, down through there, and down through there. Lovely. Oh, don't mind this, there's just a little bit of rust proofing. This turns the rust back into steel. It goes black, and then you just paint over it with red lead, and then paint. This is what I wanted to show you. This is my primary filter. This is the filter, and in here there's like a condensation cup which collects water and stuff and sludge and particulates that come out of the tank. That could be just water over time can get into your diesel tank via condensation, or it could be little particulates and stuff coming from your supplier or just from dirt inside the tank. And this is the primary filter. It takes out most of that. But every so often, periodically, you have to undo this little nut under here and drain out any water that might be there. And you can get out a little bit more water by loosening this nut because it creates a vacuum, so no more comes out. So you just basically put a little bowl underneath here and collect it as it comes out. Once it goes red, then we'll know that it's just diesel and not water. Should see a change in it. It's always good to do this on a regular basis. Once that's done, you can see we've got a little bit in there, a little bit of water and a little bit of fuel. Make sure you dispose of this properly. Don't pour it into down the drain or into any water course. It's got to be disposed correctly. Just noticed that one of these is broken. That holds my pump, my sump pump in situ, so I'm going to have to put a new cable tie on that. Because the canal boat engine's sitting below the waterline, you can't get the oil out of it like you would do in a car. You can't just undo a grub nut or sump nut and have the oil just drain out. So you have this little pump where you pump the oil out into a container and then dispose of it properly. But seeing as this little cable tie is snapped, I'm going to have to put a brand new one on there. If you notice little things are starting to go or have moved or shifted while the engine's running, causes lots of vibration, it's always good to make sure that it's all still there and hasn't moved or broken too much. Otherwise you end up in a situation where you're bodging stuff over and over again, and then you end up with more problems. There we go, nice new cable tie. Now I've got to just cut that bit off. Okay, so oil check done, fuel check done, water top up done. Stern gland checked, weed hatch checked. That's pretty much everything. We've been doing lots and lots and lots of long moves on the Thames, and on the Thames it's a river, so when you're going up the Thames you're going against the flow of the river. And the engine, I mean, my engine's only like 41 horsepower, so it has to work very, very hard to go up the Thames. But yeah, not too many major problems. One of the things that I love about owning a canal boat, or not just a canal boat, any engine really, any machine, is being involved in it, trying to understand it, working out how things work, and just giving things routine maintenance. When I first passed my driving test, my first car was a classic car. It was a 1971 Ford Escort Mark 1, and it had a very, very simple engine, and with a Haynes manual which showed you everything how to do the car. I did all sorts of things on that car. I changed the oil, I would change the spark plugs, I would change the coil, the ignition system. I had the whole engine out at one point and changed 2 pistons which had become slightly warped. I sent the head off to a manufacturer that had it skimmed professionally, rebuilt the engine. I mean, all these sorts of things are just really, really good. They just give you a sense of confidence with your engine. And then when you do have people over to repair things or look at things or whatever, as long as it's clean and tidy in there and you know what you're talking about, you're very unlikely to get ripped off. There are far too many people up and down the cut who buy a spanner and then claim that they're an engineer. So as long as you know your way around the engine, you know what's what, you know the terminology, and you're not stumped when asked questions about your engine, things like when was that last changed, if you can give them a straight answer, they're more likely to show you a little bit more respect. Okay, getting emotional thinking about it. I loved that car to pieces, but when I sold it, it wasn't in pieces, and that was my important lesson. Okay, let's start her up and see how she runs. Now what I do is I usually count to 20 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5. You hear the little lift pump filter going, and usually if you hear the tone change in that little lift pump filter, you know that the fuel's gone through. What was I up to? 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, look at that, straight away. Whew, what a relief. She's running well. She sounds good. I don't know why sailors always call their boat she, but to me, she's a she. So you have to treat it with respect. Good, good, no weeds. A lot of silt, but no weeds, just 2 ducks. Goodbye, Lechlade. Where to next?